On this afternoon on the marketplace, LPG Marketing Companies Association condemns the National Petroleum Authority's decision to impose a new tax on liquefied petroleum gas as part of a new pricing structure. Ahead, we speak with the Vice President of the association. Meanwhile, the National Petroleum Authority delays implementation of price ceiling for various products to April 16 for further consultations and model review.
Request and approval has been granted to us to suspend it for a 3-month period, beginning from today to 30th June. So the price that are being set by OMCs from now to 30th June will not have these levies in them.
Also coming up, IMF begins Ghana's second program review today as country could secure more than $300 million if it passes this assessment. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. Well, thanks for staying with us, everyone. First up, the LPG Marketing Companies Association has strongly condemned the National Petroleum Authority, NPA's decision to impose a new tax on liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, as announced in the recent pricing structure revision effective April 1st, 2024. It says the NPA's imposition of an additional $80 per metric ton as part of the supplier's premiums specifically allocated for bottling plant and cylinder investment margins is not justifiable. Vice President of the association, Gabriel Kum, joins me on Zoom. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. What explanation have you been given for the imposition of this new tax on LPG by the NPA?
Good afternoon, Daryl, and thank you for having me. The explanation is that government wants to introduce cylinder recirculation model, and it's been trying very hard to do this. It's not been working very well. So they are looking at a fund, a levy, which will help the bottling plants to set up the bottling plants. And then some of these will also go into cylinder acquisition. So government can carry out the cylinder recirculation model that attempted to do for the past 6-7 years. Daryl, what I would say is that it's unfortunate that the NPA will do this introduction at this time. If you look at the pricing for this window, already LPG was going to go up. And with the imposition of this levy alone will add about 1 cedi, 10 pesos to every kilo of LPG. And from the figures we are picking from the BDCs, the pump price of LPG is going to move from 14 cedis to about 16 cedis beginning today. And we believe that will be too much for the consumer to buy. I mean, you don't take NPA took out 14 pesos from the price of LPG and is now adding 1 cedi, 10 pesos. So it's adding about 1 cedi to a kilo. What that means is that your 14.5 kg that you use at home, be prepared to pay about 15 cedis more additional cost to be able to purchase that. And even that aside, the cedi is not doing too well. And that one alone was already going to push up the price of LPG. And now you've added this 1 cedi 10 pesos to it. So that is going to worsen an already bad situation. Consistently, we have taken the position that anything done to increase the price of LPG must be discouraged, because for the past three years, the consumption of LPG has seen a consistent and persistent decline. And this is a product government itself has set a target to increase its consumption to about 50% penetration by the year 2030. If you are dealing with such a situation, what you need to do is rather to take measures to reduce the price of the product so you can encourage more consumption and you can attract a lot more people into your consumption so that government's own objective could be achieved. But government is acting contrary to its own objective. You cannot eat your cake and have it. You can't set up an objective and at the same time to increase consumption of a product like a daily product like LPG. And at the same time you go ahead increasing the price as well. I mean, this is outrageous. We can't take this. And in the coming days we'll be appealing to NPA, our regulator, to take measures to remove this levy. The timing is so wrong. Ghanaians are suffering. We are already LPG consumption, like I indicated, is down, and then you are going to add this to it. I mean, this is we can't add salt to an injury in this manner. So we will use your medium to appeal to NPA to reconsider this and take measures to reduce, to take out this thing. The timing is simply unacceptable. I mean, they came out with this bidding process which was going to allow BDCs to buy products in bulk, and then that will attract some economies of scale which will lower prices of LPG on the market. But this has been defeated by the imposition of this levy of about 1 cedi 10 pesos on a kilo. I mean, we will appeal to NPA to, as a matter of urgency, take a second look at that and then drop this immediately.
I mean, you've raised what this would mean for pricing and how that would impact the LPG sector. You say you're appealing to the NPA to review this. I'm referring to your statement where you say you're going to fiercely oppose this move by the NPA. Just for the sake of clarity, have you already started engaging them on this? What are the options on the table?
We are going to engage them. We are going to, I mean, this came out just today. It was quite surprising to all of us. We are having an emergency meeting as immediately as possible and then look at the way forward. But we are appealing to NPA for the sake of peace and for the sake of the ordinary consumer. They should take this thing off. The timing alone is so wrong. I don't know why we are getting this so wrong. Like I said, the consumption of LPG is on a persistent decline. Look, a lot of LPG marketing companies are folding up. Already there is a ban on construction of new LPG stations, which means that the LPG market is not able to expand. And now you are pushing up prices, which is also pushing out a lot of consumers from consuming the product. Now most of our members have started folding up because they are not able to make the necessary sales that will enable them to stay in business. Those who are surviving are just surviving on the edge. So we will appeal once again to NPA, take a second look at this. It's quite insensitive to introduce this levy on LPG at this stage.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be following this story all through. Gabriel Kum, Vice President of the LPG Marketing Companies Association. Thank you so much. Well, the National Petroleum Authority has indicated that it has delayed the implementation of the price floor for petroleum products to April 16 this year. The decision by the authority to set the benchmark prices for the various petroleum products should have started today. It, however, insists that all the other regulations under the new guidelines still stand. Head of Economic Regulations at the authority, Abbas Dasunti, said this should give room for further engagements and adjustments to the model.
But over a period, every now and then, whenever we monitor price on the international market, we think that prices are continuously going up we make a request to government, as long as this levy has been able to generate enough revenue to pay for the subsidies we have on premix, we request that it should be removed for a while to reduce the burden on consumers. I'm sure if you follow price on the market since the beginning of this year, the international price have been rising. Also, the exchange rate has also been depreciating. And the projection is that to continue to, that's the international market price will continue to rise. And therefore, we've made this request and approval has been granted to us to suspend it for a 3-month period, beginning from today to 30th June. So the price that are being set by OMCs from now to 30th June will not have these levies in them. This is part of the new amendments we've made. The price regulation policy, which was introduced in July 2015, has been around for almost 9 years now. So I think about close to 7 years into its implementation, there was a need to assess it to see whether it is really working and achieving its objectives. So in 2021, a committee was put together made up of representatives from oil marketing companies, importers, even other stakeholders in the industry to review the policy. And a lot of issues came out from this review analysis that the industry did, the committee did. And some of the recommendations that came, one of the major issues were price undercutting, both from the importer side and also the distributors as the OMCs. If you know how the industry operates, one of the major objectives of pricing in Ghana is to ensure full cost recovery of investment. And also there's a formula for certain petroleum products. This formula has specific costs. Because if you take the importer, for example, there is a world market price, benchmark price that we use. And then the importer is allowed to add their own supplies premium, which basically covers the cost of delivering the product to Ghana. And then they apply the exchange rate to arrive at their ex-refining price.
All right, I want to bring in energy strategist Dr. Idris Sulemana. He's also a chief executive of Eureka Energy Solutions, a consultancy firm. Good afternoon to you. Your take on this move by the NPA to set a benchmark for pricing, what do you think this is to achieve? Is it a good move? The NPA says it is to make the market more transparent.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you, Daryl, and good afternoon to your cherished viewers in Ghana and across the globe. So it's nice to have me around. Yeah, so Daryl, I find it very difficult. I've listened to my good friend Abbas, and I find it very difficult to understand what the end game is going to be like. I understand from what I just listened is to prevent price undercutting of a sort. And so maybe that in a way bring in some kind of transparency issues. But if you look at it holistically, what is the end game? The end game probably is to just ensure that people don't price below certain value. And that's my problem, because in a deregulated market where prices is the one that determines volumes. Remember, when gold came to the picture, the strategy gold used to achieve this market that they have was to reduce prices. Gold reduced prices drastically when they were coming up and gather a lot of volume. And now they've gotten everybody involved and on board, and they've now gotten up. So most of these coming OMCs, they thought the price is something that they can use. It's the only thing that they can use to be able to stay afloat within the market. So, but to make it compulsory and mandatory because of cost recovery to who? He's a businessman. He's going to lose it, and he's still in business. And so, for me, as long as they can pay their dues to NPA, and as long as they share quality products, I think that should be the prime, focus of NPA to ensure that even if they are getting the products at, very, cheap, or cheaply at every source, just ensure that the source is legitimate. And just ensure that the product is of high quality. If the product is of high quality and they also pay the dues that they're supposed to pay to NPA, I find it difficult to understand how this price is going to impact the market. In any case, I believe we are setting a little bit back to our deregulation policy. Remember, this deregulation has been wobbling. I always say that it's been wobbling because of huge taxes that were put on it. Consumers have not been able to benefit from that. And so this kind of intervention, I just hope if NPA is to stay on course on that, it's just a temporary one to observe the market. But to make it a permanent one, we'll kill the deregulation for sure. I can assure you that. And already deregulation is weak, and then we need to make sure that I would rather strengthen it. And strengthen the deregulation, we have to stay off from unnecessary interference from the market. And this way, I think is unwarranted. And I hope NPA will take that, will rethink that decision.
You talk about strengthening deregulation. So apparently, like we had Tassoum to say, a committee was set up to review the deregulation policy we took off in June 2015. And the chamber, and that's the reason why they reached this decision to implement this new pricing guidelines. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has kicked against this. It says it defeats the whole idea of a deregulated market. Your honest opinion about deregulation and how it's worked, and if COPEC has a case?
Yeah, perfect. COPEC has a case. And if I just wish that what NPA can do, I just wish that they can engage players. I don't know the number of which players in the market. I understand they engage industry players and other, stakeholders. I just believe that if they could put on hold, re-engage, they should re-engage other players. See, this particular thing, I think, is going to favor some section of the petroleum service providers. And it's going to favor the bigger ones, as a matter of fact, because the smaller ones, they are in business because of the price. And I don't want to repeat myself again. If they can have quality products, and then if they are paying their dues, just allow them to be in business. Other than that, if you force them, my problem is asking them that they can't price below certain value. Because, of course, they will do under the tax rate. Then let them run out of business. Because already the market is already occupied by three major players, Shell, Total, and Boyd. And they occupy the largest market share. And they charge their highest on record, Daryl. And so it's going to force the other smaller ones to charge a par or closer to Shell, Total, and Boyd. I think consumer is going to be short-changed here. And in this case, that's actually why I think deregulation is going to impact deregulation, because competition is at play here. And we're going to defeat the purpose of the competition with respect to what deregulation is going to bring. And I hope NPA will rethink that and then re-engage stakeholders here.
All right, in just a minute, if you can, could there be other alternatives that could work better than this?
Yeah, sure. First of all, what they can do, first of all, is to re-engage. Probably NPA is thinking deeper. I want to think what they are thinking. Probably that at the end of the day, maybe we may run into product security or insecurity of product in a way that, because these bigger players, they are those that give us a lot of the product. But they have to look at other, go deeper than that in a way. That's long term. We are talking about the market that is partially deregulated. It's not even fully deregulated. And so the other alternative that I believe they can do is to sit with those who are charging this low to ascertain why they are charging that. Maybe they have a case. So the alternative is that if I'm a businessman and I'm charging low, and it's going to affect me, it's not going to affect you, the regulator. It's going to affect you, the businessman. And the businessman is going to run out of business. So I believe NPA, I know they're going to just take decisions in a vacuum. And I'm very surprised about this kind of decision. I just hope that those who are charging low, like Star Oil and the rest, NPA has to re-engage them to ascertain the reason why they are charging that low and they still be a business. If they seem that legitimate, then they have to allow them to be in business. But what they are currently doing, I believe it will go to disadvantage the smaller players who are rather want to be in business. And it will rather defeat competition. Because if these players are knocked out and they learn with the bigger players, then we'll have the competition again. So I hope NPA will rethink the decision and engage the major players just to ensure that the transformation they're talking about is achieved.
Dr. Isi Sulemana, Energy Strategist, also Chief Executive of Eureka Energy Solutions. Appreciate your time with us this afternoon. You're watching The Marketplace. Some news on the IMF economic program. Ghana will today undergo scrutiny over our performance under the IMF program. The mission has arrived in the country to carry out the review for the next 2 weeks. Joining me on Zoom is Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University in the U.S., Reliance report to talk a bit more about this. So does it look certain that we'll pass this review based on our performance so far? And what would be the scope of assessment? You're muted.
Daryl, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Did you hear my question?
Yes, I heard your question. So the IMF second review is going to look at Ghana's performance as at the end of December 2023. They will be looking at the operationalization of the integrated tax administration system by government. That is integration of all the tax systems headlines we have, the EVAT, the functionalities of the EVAT, the CIT, and the PIT. So this is to focus on how we are integrating all these revenue headlines and how we are able to collect, account for the revenues we have collected, and also make sure that the 265 IGFs that government institutions, all the activities, procurement goes through and payment goes through the government platform. So this assessment is going to be done. On the quantitative angle, they are going to look at our benchmarks based on the international reserves position as of December. Find out how Bank of Ghana has dealt with its monetary policies, and also look at how our inflation and projections have been going, whether it's in line with the target we set up in the PTPEC program. So these are going to be the major items IMF is going to look at. If you ask me, some of them we have the mixed results. Some we have positive results, some not too favorable results. By this time, we feel have also gotten agreement with our external creditors, but which is still pending.
Okay, I'm not too sure if I had your concluding sentence on that, whether or not we are going to pass this test. What did you say again?
We may pass some of the criteria, and some of them we may not, based on what has happened. We know there are some tax headlines that we have not been able to implement them fully, which has an implication on the revenue. So that when it comes to that angle, we may face, but if you look at our inflation headlines as of December, we have done better than we projected in the targets. Bank of Ghana's monetary policy rate has also been in line with the target. So that is why I say there's going to be a mixed result. But all to put it, we may have more than 70% pass, because it's only the tax revenue, the one that we have not been able to implement, that's going to be a challenge.
70%, that sounds like a good score if you ask me. But so how would this, the outcome of this review influence our talks with bilateral creditors? We're expecting a deal to be concluded by the end of March. Now that has passed.
This could give the bilateral creditors that we are being disciplined. So if they are able to agree to the terms that we have put on the table, this may pave way for us to start making payments towards their outstanding loans, which we have stopped. So they may have to look at our performance now and then agree to some terms with us, so that this may pave way for the program to move on smoothly. I mean, it's a major hindrance to the entire program, and so we may have to agree. The delay is coming due to the various parties involved, each one taking to entrenched position, because each one wants to make sure that they don't lose out.
All right, I want us to switch topics. Some news that we are also following this afternoon to do with Treasury Bills. So the government's Treasury Bill target was undersubscribed last Friday by 50.69% because the Treasury decided to keep the yields down in order to reduce the cost of borrowing. I just also want to say this decision was based on the inflow of $300 million support from the World Bank. What's your interpretation of this?
We see that government is not able to meet its target on the treasury market. It gives them three main signals. The first one, we should know that then it means that the market sentiment point to a mismatch between what investors are expecting and what government wants to do. Government wants to find a balancing act in terms of reducing the fiscal burden on interest rate. Government wants to be more efficient. However, investors are projecting that government policies are not working as planned. So they are expecting that they are compensated with a higher interest on government securities. So this is a mismatch. Almost a 50% reduction in that act means that the government may have to look at, or the central bank may have to look at its policy strategies in addressing this issue. Indeed, the market sentiment points that inflation rates, though we have seen a disinflation, but in future is pointing to the cost push factor is pointing to a reverse in the next 2 quarters. So that is why the investors were asking for a higher interest rate, and that's why they did not also buy into or accept government reduced rates.
Okay, a quick one in 1 minute, if you can. So essentially, we've not seen a lull in government's over-reliance on T-bills for borrowing, have we?
I mean, so this is the only source now available for government to run this, to get liquidity to run this operation. So it's alarming if government says that they are not, they refuse to accept some of the rates which were with higher interest rates. I'm expecting that in the coming opening markets, the government may change its position because it's not a good sign. As I mentioned, investors don't see the financial health of government improving in the short term. So government must compensate them with a higher interest.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Williams, Associate Professor of Finance, Andrews University. That's our program, The Marketplace. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We'll leave you with our Money Lab episode for today.
Hello, welcome to Money Lab. My name is Isaac Edu, Head of Broker Relations at Enterprise Insurance. In the last edition, we discussed fire insurances. Today, we are looking at accident and liability insurances. Accident and liability insurance provides financial protection to individuals and organizations against accidental injury to individual or to a group of individuals, accidental loss or damage to a business's operations, and then also your liability to the public. Typically, the accident and liability insurance could include the workman's compensation insurance, which covers the liability of employers, public liability, goods in transit, where damage to your goods in transit is also covered, and also the infidelity of your employees. Thank you for staying with us today. See you again next week.